I'm Hazel, it's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week was a huge week for WoW news because we had the patch 9.2 announcement video, and more importantly, a bunch of more concrete information about patch 9.2 came out in a series of dev interviews given to various fan sites. In this video, I want to round up and highlight the most exciting, big pieces of 9.2 news that were not in that announcement video because it was very pretty. It showed the new zone, there was water that we've definitely never seen before, there was a snail mount, that was cool, but I want to talk about the meaty bits that came out in the various interviews. So first up, double legendaries. In 9.2, you will be able to unlock, through the cipher of the first ones, the new progression system, the ability to equip 2 legendaries at once. The catch is that one of those legendaries has to be your Covenant legendary. This kind of reduces the amount of combinations that they need to account for when they're tuning, which is good, but it's giving people feelings because it does lock you into your Covenant a little bit more. You might be a little less inclined to just freely swap between Covenants, you know, for like Mythic Plus versus Rating, unless you have fully upgraded the Covenant legendaries for each one, which you might want to do, who's to say? And this also might throw a wrench into the whole Covenant balance situation, you know, shake up the meta a bit because, you know, there's certain Covenants that are stronger for different classes right now, but they may not be the Covenants, they may not be the Covenant class combinations that have the best Covenant legendary. So that's definitely going to be something for the theory crafters to chew through. I'm sure they're already working on it. Speaking of legendaries, they also confirmed in an interview that for these new legendary upgrade levels that they're going to be adding, you will not need to do any more Torghast. You're going to get the currency that you need to further upgrade your legendaries in the new zone. It was unclear to me whether you'll be able to make new legendaries from scratch just in the new zone, or if you'll still want to go back and do Torghast, or at the very least like mail around your Soul Ash and stuff to get them started. But for the 9.2 levels, you are off the hook if you are not a fan of Torghast. The next big piece of news we got from interviews was solo queue in the form of a PvP brawl. Solo queue is kind of sort of coming to WoW in patch 9.2. They're adding the solo shuffle PvP brawl, and the format of this is 6 people are going to go in, and then they're going to fight a bunch of 3v3 matches where the teams get shuffled up, so every combination of players fights each other, and then at the end of it, rating is distributed based on who won the most. I think that's a clever idea to try to avoid having MMR have to take into account like comp strength and counter comps, because that's both very complicated and also often changing, and hopefully the queue times are not that long because it's only available as part of a PvP brawl, so it's not up all the time. The devs have been known to test various PvP tech in the context of PvP brawls before potentially launching it, so depending on how Solo Shuffle goes, it could be something that could be potentially added to WoW permanently later on, so interested to play that when it comes out. Another big piece of news that was pretty high on my wish list is that tier sets will come from more than just Raid in 9.2. So tier sets are coming back, we have seen the models for them. They will drop from Raid like normal, so Raiders are going to be able to get their sets the old-fashioned way in addition to this new system, so Raiders might get their sets done first. But even if you don't raid, you can still get your tier set by using a new currency you grind in Zereth Mortis to upgrade an existing piece of gear into a tier set piece. You can upgrade PvP gear or Mythic Plus gear. PvPers and Mythic Plusers will also be able to find tier set pieces as their end of week vault option, so that's another way they can get their set pieces. But even open world only players will be able to collect and wear their tier sets and get their tier set bonuses. I'm happy to have tier sets back, and I'm excited to find out what the bonuses actually are. I am less excited a little bit about the sets themselves. I think that they look really cool, but they remind me very heavily, and I know I'm not the only person that thinks this, of like the Shadowlands dungeon armor and like the questing leveling armor. And the fact that the color palette was like so unified across the different sets, I feel like takes away from the class identity of them a little bit. We'll see what the recolors look like, but I have a feeling there's going to be like a new palette that is for one of the recolors, but it's still shared among all the sets. I don't know how much of the priest set I will be mogging myself, but I am excited that tier sets are back in general. Another sort of news bomb that people were kind of sort of starting to expect, we found out that Zoval, the jailer, will be the last boss of the Sanctum of Domination raid, and that it's gonna be the last raid of the expansion, and this is the last major patch of the expansion. There may be some kind of like an epilogue or like a minor story patch following this up, but it sure sounds like this is the last tier of Shadowlands that we're gonna get. On the topic of raid bosses also, they are doing kind of a funny thing with raid locking, where it's an 11 boss raid, and the 8th boss we fight Anduin. And those first 8 bosses are as far as you're going to be allowed to go in the first week because of the story. reasons. I'm sure we'll understand them later. The first 8 bosses will be open right away, and those last 3 will unlock later. But the jailer is at the end of it, so we're really wrapping this thing up. What else did we get? We have confirmation there will be no more Renown or Soulbind updates, so Renown 80 is as good as it's going to get. There will be more progression through the cipher, the first ones. I wouldn't get too excited about not having to do anything. There will be plenty of new stuff to do, but you won't have to do any more with the current thing, that is to say, Renown. 80 is good. Overall, the announcement had me pretty hyped. I'm curious as to what the potential release timeline for 9.2 could look like. I'm sure they don't even solidly know yet. I would assume it's next year. It would really blow my mind if they spit this thing out before New Year's, just because there's a new raid and it's got a lot of bosses and they're gonna have to test that. And somebody said something about Anduin being a very complex fight, and I don't know if they meant like emotionally or just like a lot of abilities. Other WoW news this week, there were a couple of things. Blizzard is now selling level 60 character boosts. It is important to note that this does not apply to an old level 50 boost that is sitting on your account, you know, say for example from 2019 when you pre-ordered Shadowlands, or at the very least it did not apply to mine. Mine is still a level 50 boost. It is decorating my login screen, and I kind of want to be that one really annoying person that like 5 years from now when they do another level squish, makes them have to figure out and think about what to do with that boost that somebody redeemed but never like used. I'm the worst. In Live WoW this week, the 17th anniversary event is going to begin in just a couple of days on November the 15th. It will include our favorite dragons, you know, the big blue ones. Are they all blue? They feel blue. The big dragons world bosses are coming back as usual. There will be a brand new experience and rep buff available, 17% experience and rep during the anniversary event with that little celebration package item. And they're adding a new pet and a new mount, so don't skip this one. If you are a pet or a mount collector, you'll be able to get the Illidari Dragonhawk and the Timeless Mechanical Dragonling, presumably 4-time warp badges during the event. I don't know if we have a collection source confirmed for the Dragonhawk, but the Dragonling at least is going to be on the vendor. And in my life this week, I have some people visiting. It's very unlike me. I've invited my arena teammates over. We've been having a little bit of a LAN. We've broken into laptops. It's been a lot of fun. They may bully me into playing Classic Season of Mastery with them. It doesn't sound like me, but if everybody else in the house is doing it, I'm very easily peer pressured. And questions for this week. The Buggy, having some issues with unlocking Covenant cosmetics, wants to know, is there anything that I have to do to unlock transmog sets all the time? I don't understand the ripcord pulled thing. So it wasn't made super clear in the original announcements, but what it is unlocking a Covenant's cosmetics for your whole account requires hitting Renown 80 on that Covenant. So the reason that your alt can use your Kyrian Mog is because you hit Renown 80 on your Kyrian. If you have not yet been to Renown 80 with a given Covenant on your account, then you are only able to use those cosmetics while you are currently in the Covenant. But once you hit 80 on it, all of your characters can use it. And Kevin wants to know, is there any value in having alts of the same class in the same faction? If I really like Priest, would it be worth having a Shadow and Holy Priest, for example? So value... No, but does that stop people? Not really. I am personally very guilty of having duplicate alts. I have a great deal of priests, 2 of which are level 60. Some reasons people might have duplicate alts, one of them is that early in Shadowlands it let you kind of specialize your conduits and your covenant for a given application. So you might have a different Holy or Shadow Priest so that they don't have to like swap covenants and, you know, soul binds and stuff. Or you might have a different PvE or PvP priest. I did that. I had a different one for PvE and PvP just because I wanted a different covenant, but also because I like setting up my UI and my keybinds quite differently for the different applications. And I guess I'm just too lazy to use add-on profiles or something, but not too lazy to level another priest. I always want to level another priest. Another reason to do it is if in PvP you are pushing arena rating or rated battleground rating, it can be useful to have like a main that you do like you're pushing with your main team, and then like another character that you use to play with more casual friends or just pug, so that you can just play the game without having to worry about endangering your main rating. So there are some reasons. Are they good reasons? Are they worth gearing up another character and grinding their conduits and renown and all that? Probably not, but if you want another priest, you should make another priest. Pick a different race. There's so many different pretty options. And that has been the week. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a question you would like me to answer in one of these videos, pop it in the comments, include the word question. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful day.